Hey, happy Fearless Friday, everybody. How are you doing today? Walking Crow for the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. And I want to talk about something today that most men don't think about. And I know that women think about it. They feel about it. They have to deal with it constantly because of the media and because of well-meaning people with bad ideas. I'll just say that. And I'm talking about body image. So you're seeing me today walking crow without a shirt on. This is something I don't normally do for the camera, whether I'm singing songs in the land. It's really rare when you guys see me without a shirt. Most people don't, most people won't. And there's a reason for that. Growing up as a little kid, I grew up through Catholicism. I grew up through religion where everything is dirty and nothing is good, and it's nasty, and it's wrong. It's always wrong. And I grew up with that, and I grew up being slapped, and I grew up being hit, and I grew up being pinched, and I was husky. I wasn't just a little kid I was husky. They had a name for little kids like me. I was short, I was dark, I was fat, I had poor body image. I was given poor body image by my community, by my home, by my school, by those around me, And I lived my life that way. I lived my life trying to fight my weight, trying to be keep up with the Joneses, to be what others look like, right? I joined the gym and I lost a bunch of weight. I lost 60 pounds and people thought I was sick. They would insult me by saying, "Are you okay? Are you sick?" No, not just that, I was losing weight or I looked good. No, there was none of that. And then I gained all the weight back, and I was a pathetic alcoholic, and I'm going to say that. I drank and I drugged, and I did that for a lot of years, and I hid behind the obesity. You guys don't see me as obese, and you probably never will. But ever since I shed that wall, I remember as a little child kicking against the stone wall I built around myself. I built a stone wall around myself so high and so thick to protect myself from predators who were teachers and parents and cousins and brothers and sisters and so-called friends who would call me fat, who would call me Sasmuski. They would make up names for me. And I didn't say anything. And there was all this body shaming. And I walked through most of my life with that. And then at the age of 50, when I became the healer, when I started to remember who and what Walking Crow is, who and what Walking Crow has always been for the lifetimes, for the eons, I shed that weight, but I didn't shed it as weight. There was no such thing as diet, D-I-E-T. People kill themselves to gain 5 pounds. Every year for the new year, I'm going to make a resolution. I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to change my body. I'm going to change they want to change everything about them and they don't know how to love. What I did was I learned through the medicine how to love Walking Crow, how to love Anthony with a 38 waist as well as a 30 waist, a whole. I had to love that man, that little boy, that wounded child, because this child was wounded for a lifetime. And the emotion comes up. And the emotion becomes up because it's important to have the emotion. I had a client call me last night, and she started to cry. I said, "Cry, dear lady, just cry." I was always told to don't cry. Crying's for queers. Only queers cry. That's the kind of a teaching that I grew up with. That's the kind of message that I got. I don't know anything about queers. I don't know anything about straight people. I don't know anything about gay people. I don't know. There are none of my business. I only know about Walking Crow. And what I teach is how I went from point A to point B. How I got to the other side of where I was. How did I do that? Well, when I became the healer, I shed that weight, but it wasn't because I changed my eating. But I did change my eating. I'm not going to tell you a lie. But because I was willing to do what I'm doing now, to come into my voice, to talk about the issues in my tissues and uncover them and bring them out of the darkness and into the light and allow my light to shine, my body image changed. I became. So you see me without a shirt. Now you won't see me any lower. You don't need to. But you see my shoulders, you see my arms, you see my skin, you see my body. And I have recently, I'm in a relationship, and even when I'm here at the house, I never walked around in my boxer briefs or anything like that. I was always wearing a t-shirt and shorts. I never walked around shirtless. And now I walk around my own house if I'm not naked, I'm wearing, boxer briefs and no shirt and no shoes. And it's so comfortable. And I learned how to be comfortable in my own body because I am embodied, a whole. Do you understand that? I am whole. I am no longer HOLE or filled with HOLES. I am WHOLE. I am whole and I am embodied, and I can and I will and I do. And so can you. If you live through body shaming, or if you've been obese, or you use the excuse, well, I have big bones. There was a lady who said that on Facebook one day, and I said, there's no such thing as big bones. And she said, you don't know what you're talking about. You've never been fat. And I said, excuse me. I sent her my picture from my license from California where my face was this big and I was 238 pounds. Yes, I was 238 pounds. And I've been 160 pounds since I became the healer. I went up in the beginning of COVID about 10 pounds to 170, and that was it. And I'm actually not even 160. I'm 150, between 150 and 160 now. And it's not about the weight. It's about how do you feel? How do you want to feel? How can you feel? Push away from, you don't necessarily have to push away from the food and push away from the table. Push away from those people who give you poor messages, who call you names, who jokingly call you fat, hey fatty, or hey skinny. I have friends, when I was in the Anonymouses, I would go to a meeting and there was a friend of mine who was obese who would always say to me, you know what, Anthony, you're too skinny, you're too skinny, you're too skinny. But she would say that out of fear because she was obese and she was always weighing her food and not eating sugar, but she always looked the same. She didn't do anything about her emotional baggage. In Alcoholics Anonymous, we do an inventory of our life. I did 3 or 4 of those over my period in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm sober 30 years. I don't go to Alcoholics anymore for years now. But because I have transformed from a seemingly hopeless place of mind and body. I was never hopeless. I was only helpless. I asked for help and I remain hopeful. The biggest word in that sentence is seemingly. It's a lie. The word seemingly is a lie, and we buy the lie. We buy the whole package. You don't have to buy the whole package. Just buy one, right? I just want a popsicle. I don't want a box of popsicles. I just want to taste it, so I get one. I don't have to eat the whole package. Seemingly. Listen to that word. Understand what that word means. A whole. Do you suffer from body image? And if you do suffer from body image and you want to do something about it and you want to learn how to speak to yourself, my shamanic practices and the things that I do for myself, the way that I speak to myself is all about the love of self. Where do we learn to love the self? We don't. We're never taught that. I started to unfold as the lotus. I grew out of the mud, through the murky water, and in the distance I could see the sun, but I couldn't feel the sun. But inside I knew it was there, and I grew as the lotus through the water, and when I crested that water and came out, I blossomed and I became. I am Walking Crow. I don't say that to get a charge from you or to give myself a name. I was named by Emma Molina Iñiguez and my teacher Mazawali in Los Angeles. I have teachers who gave me the name because they watched me blossom and they watched me grow. Do you want to blossom? Do you want to grow? Do you want to become that little girl or little boy that you were always meant to be? Are you splintered? Do you need a soul retrieval? Do you need to be picked up? Uppy. As children, we see children do that. As children, we did that. Were we picked up? If you left your child behind and you've been wounded and carry the wounds of your life, let me help you. My name is Walking Crow, and I am the Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. Can you? Will you? Do you? I can. I will. I do. I am. This is a message about body image and why we have poor body image and how we can recover from, transform from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Again, it's not about taking off the shirt, but for me, being comfortable enough with in my own skin that you're allowed to see this part of my skin. You don't need to see the whole package to understand my message. You guys have seen me transform. You've seen the tooth fall out. You've seen the hair grow. You've watched me as Walking Crow. 818-442-1717. 818-442-1717. Or reach out to me at walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com. walkingcrow@sacreddrummedicine.com. You can also find me on YouTube at Walking Crow, Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. You can find me on Facebook at Anthony J. Rodriguez, in parentheses, Walking Crow. And you can find me on Instagram at WalkingCrow_Sacred Drum Medicine. Everybody, have a beautiful, fearless Friday. And if you want to learn to be fearless like Walking Crow, you can do that. Give me a call. Send me an email. Go to my website. Look me up. You don't have to be where you are or where you've been. You can grow and you can be happy, and you don't have to have anger, sadness, and grief in your life anymore. Again, Walking Crow, Transformational Sacred Drum Medicine. Have a beautiful, fearless Friday.